All right, what's up? Welcome everybody to another edition of Your Pizza Palace, baby. Your host, of
Your
course,
pizza palace, not my pizza palace, not his pizza palace, your pizza palace.
yours at home. That is right. It is our Pizza Palace, the great city of Detroit and the greater Michigan area. Of course, your host, a saddened host, but we'll get to that. Robert Winstanley, of course, joined by his best friend in the world, Sean Murphy. How are you, Sean?
Doing well, my friend. How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm in mourning, but it's okay.
I did just get you on record calling me your best friend in the world.
I did do that.
Despite contradictory reports of recent. So I am glad to still have that job and that title retained.
I'll always love you no matter what, Hollywood.
And I will fight in a Money in the Bank style ladder match and retain my title if required. I am prepared for cash-ins. I am prepared. Yeah.
You're the 24/7 champion.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. I'm really just dancing around the fact that I am R-Truth.
And on that note, we're gonna just blaze right in to the NFL. We have a lot going on, a ton to unpack. This is easily the number one subject. Really, there's so many news things to cover. So
this really feels like it's becoming a football podcast with everything going on. But
because
that's the time of year. It's the time of year.
It's the time of year because the thing of it is right, like, even as big of a hockey fan as I am, right now is like such a meh period for hockey because it's like it's not close enough to the beginning where you're all jazzed up, and it's not close enough to the end. It's just right in the middle. And same for basketball season, where it's like either your team is in it or your team is out of it. And even if your team's in it, you're kind of waiting for the playoffs. And if your team's out of it, you've checked out.
Well, not only that, but also like we're also all kind of waiting for the trade deadline next week too. So, it's just one of those things where every area of sports right now, it's like this time of year is it's football time. I mean, that's
100%.
Just the way the cookie crumbles. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, I mean, mid-season for really any sport is always kind of that, all right, kind of period. And it is what it is. And so for hockey and basketball, it's a little meh right now. Baseball, they are nowhere close to making a deal, apparently. So spring training is definitely in question, and God only knows what's going to happen to the season. So
yeah, they were supposed to start reporting in like a couple weeks, right? Don't they always report around Valentine's Day? Like
it's fucked, man. I'm extremely sad, and I'm really hoping that they can get this shit figured out. But so that's fucked. However, the NASCAR Clash is this weekend, so I'm pretty excited about that. That's right.
Thank God. Yeah,
exactly right.
We got the Clash coming up.
We got the Clash, which is kind of this bullshit race that's sort of more of a kickoff for the season, that to just be like fun. And then they always take a week off to let the Super Bowl get out of the way. And then after that is the very first race of the season, which is also considered the biggest just because of the heritage of the race itself, the Daytona 500.
I always found the best strategy for a sport is to get your number one event right out of the way. Like, get what people are excited for done early so that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, like, why show up for class? Know that, like, it's like, hey, we have to do a lot of homework, but first let's eat a lot of candy and play games, and then we'll get to doing homework. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. I don't even know what it is in particular. I think it's a number of things really, but I think the first race of the season kind of would be the big deal anyways, no matter what it was. I think it's just because, like, you wait really not that long, but for racing fans, it feels like an eternity for racing season to come around. So when it does happen, it's like, oh my God, yes. And so whatever the first race would be is just, it gets you so jazzed. But with Daytona being the second, I think, or third oldest track on the circuit. Actually, I think it's second oldest track on the circuit. It's just a huge deal and all that kind of stuff. And especially the type of racing that it provides is pretty crazy. But
I mean, all jokes aside, it's a big sporting event, but
it's huge. And like, it is weird because, like, it is considered such a big deal, and it is such a big thing of like, it is kind of our Super Bowl, but it's not. It's weird that it's always called that. I think it's more just like they like to really start off with a bang. And I think that it also helps because, fans might watch that and see this is the most exciting and chaotic that the sport can be. Stick around and see maybe if you like the nitty gritty as well and that kind of thing. And
right.
So, because I think it's a lot easier to introduce someone into a sport when you show them the like most fun version of it. Yeah. Instead of showing them like the most boring version of it.
Yeah, like if I'm going to show someone an NBA game, I'm going to show them like Cavs Warriors from back in the day. I'm not going to show them, I'm not going to show them Pistons Pelicans, which is currently happening. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. No shot. So it's like, I mean, that's kind of the way it is. I mean, as much as my favorite, one of my favorite easily on the circuit is the oldest track, which is Martinsville. I love that track, but it's a half mile that's, not exactly the most like, there's bumping and banging, there's some good stuff going on or whatever, but like, I mean, it's not exactly this like high speed, crazy flips and whatever. The average fan, it's going to take them a few races to get, interested enough to where they would love Martinsville. They're not going to just jump right in and love it. So it is what it is, but
but anyways, I mean, we have a lot of other old rich white people to talk about though, Robert. We
sure do. But yeah, and the thing is we usually wait for the main thesis of the episode until a little bit later, but there's just so much to cover that we just have to jump in right away. I was glad that I was able to start it off a little bit. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to start off with a little bit though with the NASCAR, because that is coming up and I am very jazzed about that this week.
Well,
although it's going to be in a weird venue, we'll see how it goes.
Well, hey, I'm always down to get a little Caesar's pizza, slide in, get some dooskies, and sit down. Sit down. I've watched NASCAR with you before. I'll do it again.
Well, to be honest, this actually might be a really fun one because it's a race that doesn't mean anything. It's not for points. It is going to be held at the LA Coliseum where the Rose Bowl is played.
Well, I mean, Robert, to me, it's going to mean
nothing. You say that, regardless. But the problem of that is that it is I think it's a quarter of a mile, something like that. So I have no fucking idea how this is even going to work, like physically, but come hell or high water, there's going to be cars slowly getting around there, or I don't even fucking know. It's going to be a parking lot. I don't even know.
Now I just want to picture them like how like football games, like oftentimes like high school games, they'll do it at like baseball stadiums and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm just picturing like, we're happy to announce that NASCAR's coming to Yankee Stadium. And like, they got these motherfuckers driving in a trapezoid just to like make this shit work. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, here's the thing. It's worse because it's like if a high school football team wanted to play on a tennis court. Like, because you're like downscaling. Like, it's what makes no sense. You're going backwards. You're not getting bigger. You're getting smaller. It's very weird.
Speaking of going backwards, the NFL.
The NFL, exactly. Sliding backwards. First of all, the very first item, the most important in my opinion, is that the greatest player.
White guy, that makes sense. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The biggest, the most prominent news. For sure.
The greatest player in the history of sports, maybe, and certainly of the NFL, Tom Brady, is finally retiring after 22 wonderful seasons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right, let me just get the serious stuff. Let me get the serious stuff out of the way before I say my jokes. First of all,
for sure,
Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback in the history of the game. He's the greatest player to ever play football. He's arguably the greatest athlete to ever play a sport. I started watching the ESPN Plus series about him, The Last Dance, but for Brady.
Yeah, the man in the arena. I'm on episode like 4, I think.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at too. I'm at episode 3 or 4, and been really enjoying it so far. The Last Dance is better. I mean, but also The Last Dance was the last fucking dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're kind of made differently. Yeah.
Well, and I was just about to. Yeah, they're made differently. The concept is different because this is going through every season, every Super Bowl, every significant moment. Tom Brady talking about it and his philosophy of teamwork, and like it's really like, it's kind of symbolic of how Brady and Jordan are so different because The Last Dance was all about Jordan's greatness. A Man in the Arena, Tom made all about team greatness. Like, he never talks about how he got these passing records. Whenever the offense is booming, he never says that he's the ringleader behind it. He's like, we got some weapons in here and we just functioned great as a team. So, yeah. I mean, like, listen, the guy's just an all around team guy. He's all around. The thing that I truly realized about him, especially after watching the other series that was done about him, which was on Facebook Watch, the one that was documenting him and all that kind of stuff in the off season. The guy is just a fanatic for football.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, to retire going into his, because people, the crazy thing is that this guy's turning 45 and there's people saying that he's retiring early.
Yeah.
That's how good he was for so long. He's going out leading the league in passing his last year. He could possibly win the MVP at 44.
In my opinion, he should be.
Yeah. He very much could be. It's him or Rodgers.
I'm a little biased though. I mean,
yeah, you are a little biased, but that's okay. I mean, personally, I think it should probably be Tom as well. But I think when it's all going to be said and done, he's going to be remembered as the greatest quarterback of all time. The way that we grew up with images of Namath and Elway, our kids are going to be growing up with images of Brady. And that's the serious way. I can say it. Selfish part of me, thank fucking God, I'm excited to see other people actually get a chance. Holy fucking shit, go away. Let me have fun. Let me enjoy life. Get out of this freaking sport. You won 7 times. Oh, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Congrats. You're the GOAT.
Well, and it's so funny too, because I do find it ironic just how many Michigan fans specifically don't like Tom Brady. And it's
because we're Lions fans.
And that's exactly what it is. But it is funny to me because I'm like, there's so many Michigan fans that don't like him, even though he's the greatest thing that's ever happened to that college, arguably, or come out of it.
Well, the other thing that you have to realize too is that Brady, first of all, he's the greatest player to ever play at Michigan.
Yep.
But he wasn't the greatest player in the history of Michigan. He wasn't.
No.
He when he was at Michigan,
he was fine.
Yeah, he was fine. He was serviceable. He was a backup college quarterback for the most of his time. So, not only that, but also when he went to Michigan, I was a baby.
Exactly. So you don't even remember him.
Yeah. So for me, I don't even register him with Michigan. He went there. I see pictures of him in Michigan gear. But for me, it's, I grew up on I remember the first time I vividly remember watching a Patriots game, which was the 2004 Super Bowl, I believe, which was against the Eagles. And I just remember hearing how this team would win all the time, how Philly hadn't been there in years. So I literally was pitched this underdog story that these Goliaths were against it. You know what I'm saying? So,
for sure.
So, when you grow up with that, and especially when you're from Michigan, you're from, with all the sports team, all the sports shit that we have, you grow up generally liking the underdog. So for me, Tom Brady was the polar opposite of the underdog. He was the guy that got there and got it done almost every single time. Obviously that's not true. He has quite the underdog story, being drafted. And
so do the Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean, the Patriots were the Cleveland Browns for 30 years.
Oh yeah. No, if you watch the documentary, it makes, because here's the thing, it's kind of pissing me off because it's making me respect them more. And I hate it. I fucking hate it.
I felt somewhat similarly. Yeah.
I can sit there and still be like, I still hate your guts, but damn if you guys didn't know what the hell you were doing. Because there's even things with where it talks about Belichick being questioned for bringing in Rodney Harrison and cutting their other safety at the time, where it's whereas for us it's Rodney Harrison, that's a Hall of Fame caliber player, but people back then were like, Belichick, you're a fucking idiot, what do you think you're doing? You know what I mean? But
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020. Us growing up with what we did, we know Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. He was not known as that at that point, but yeah, no, I definitely it's definitely been a good watch. You know, the other thing is they bring up Spygate in there in one of the episodes that I watched.
I don't think I'm on that one yet.
Okay. Yeah, they brought up, so I just watched the episode where Michael Strahan and the Giants won the Super Bowl. I'm just finishing that episode up, and they talk about Spygate. It very briefly comes up, and they essentially frame the players as victims and how they knew nothing about it, and they don't talk about the Belichick side of it because like, well, he just said no, so we're just gonna go play. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, I grew up with a very different view of Spygate because I was biased. I hate the Patriots, and that was just ammunition. So, yeah, I mean, all that to say, I mean, listen, the guy was gonna have to retire at some point. It still doesn't feel real, but I mean, Robert, how are you feeling? I mean, you got the background right there. You're, you know, that was your guy for 2 years. You know, he's, you know, that's the last team he's ever going to play for, not the team he's retiring for. But yeah, I mean, what are you feeling, Robert?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different things with this that are very interesting for me because I'm actually likely losing two of my favorite players over the last decade or so that I've really grown up with, and that's Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski.
Oh yeah, you're losing Gronk. He's retired 100%.
Yeah, and so that definitely sucks because I have loved these guys for a long time. And the thing is like, you know, I also too hated the Patriots and was sick of seeing them winning, but there was certainly a point where eventually I was like, well, the Bucs are never going to have success and the Patriots are just going to win anyway. So I was like, if you can't beat them, join them. And so for a little while there, I just kind of was like, you know what? Fuck it.
What?
Right. Well, but I didn't root for the Patriots so much as I just liked Tom Brady, and I always liked him. I had a jersey of his that was the Patriots a while back, and then I actually still remember. I think I had like a Jolly Rancher or some bullshit in my pocket or a crayon or something dumb or whatever, and my mom washed both of them together, and it fucked up the shirt, and I was like super sad.
Hell yeah!
But
I mean, that's a bummer.
It was a bummer. But, you know, and I had like a Patriots helmet, like one of those felt helmets on my wall next to my Buccaneers and Raiders. But the only reason I had it up there was because of Tom. I'm like, fuck the team, but like Tom Brady, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen more Tom Brady games than any other quarterback in the league, including Matthew Stafford, because I never cared for the Lions. And like mostly when it came to the NFL, since the Buccaneers weren't on TV because they suck ass, mostly I just watched the playoffs, and the playoffs were Tom Brady. I mean, that's just pretty much what I grew up with. So, you know, from that nostalgic standpoint, it definitely, you know, is weird and doesn't feel real on that standpoint. The other part that's strange is, you know, when the trade went through, or not the trade, but him signing with the Buccaneers was very strange because, like, I've been putting Tom Brady on my football team in Madden for years.
Yeah, and then they just pulled a Madden move in real life. That was literally the craziest football free agency signing in the history of the league.
It was bizarre because, like, literally I have been putting him on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for so long, and so to see him actually in real life wearing it felt really, really weird. And amazing. And it's funny too, because I was telling guys at work, I've been joking actually, you know, for a while before then about like, oh, well, Tom's getting close to leaving the Patriots. I bet he'll come to the Bucs, and like just making stupid jokes that you always make, like a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
And then when it happened, I was like, there's just no fucking way. Like there's no possible way. And then every awesome free agent was coming over. I mean, we got the likes of Rob Gronkowski, and then we got Leonard Fournette, which has been awesome.
You got, and, you know, just guys Brown when he was there. I mean,
and so anyways, we got these free agents that I could only dream of, and so, you know, it was really magical. I will say, you know, being able to wear hoodies that say champions, or, you know, or championship or whatever, with the Buccaneers name still doesn't feel real. It's every time I throw on one of those hoodies and look in the mirror, it's really weird to see my team's logo with champions, just because even though they won one when I was a child in 2003, like I'm so used to this and this that it's just like I never pictured success truly, especially after this one. You know, and so it is crazy actually to kind of go through the background a little bit here. Like my first ever jersey in 2009-ish, I think, when he was drafted, which was around when I first started watching football. Before then, I'd play the video games and I liked the Bucs and the Raiders, but I didn't actually really you don't know the teams at all. So
Right.
anyways, I chose the Bucks mostly over the Raiders. And so then my dad got me this Josh Freeman jersey, which ended up aging poorly almost immediately. I wore this bad boy for so long. And I mean, this thing, it's weird because it looks in good shape because I take really good care of my stuff, but like, and I also never like wash them. And if I do, I was very, very anal about making sure that nothing happened to them in the wash and whatever. But like, I wore this thing to death, loved my Josh Freeman jersey forever. And then I actually remember for Christmas, I got this like right after we drafted Jameis Winston. I hated the pick. Didn't want him. I wanted Marcus Mariota. I was very upset, but I decided, you know what? This is just what I'm going to have to live with. His
Isn't
last
it bad?
name.
But can I just point out, by the way?
Yeah.
They had the choice between Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
And they somehow got it right.
Yeah.
Despite everything, they got that pick right.
Isn't that bizarre? Because the funny thing is too, is now that Winston had LASIK, he was looking really fucking good for the Saints. So it's strange. Maybe he actually will turn out to look good. I mean, who knows?
He looked good for a couple games, and then he went back down to reality.
For sure. And who knows what he'll turn out to be with the Saints or wherever he ends up and stuff like that. I think he can be an extremely serviceable quarterback in the league, for a long time, to be honest.
I was a lot brighter on his future when Sean Payton was still in the building. However, now that he's gone, I have a little bit more hesitancy. I still think
maybe we can get him back.
I mean, you never say never, except I'm going to say never on that one.
We could. I mean, if he's cheap and available, okay.
Yeah, you could. But it's yeah, man. I mean, as far as like what the Bucks do going forward, I mean, listen, I think this seems like if you think about it, it kind of makes sense that this was the year that Tom steps away because, with this last year's Bucks team, this is like, this was like one of the first times we saw a team bring back every starting player. And so to have the opportunity to run it back with the same group of guys that he got it done with for a ring, especially with how much of a team guy Tom is, to have one more shot at it with that guy, with those group of guys. And then obviously after this year, no matter what, Tom stayed, they would have had to do some retooling and they would have had to figure something out. Not saying they couldn't contend, but this was his best chance of getting another ring. And,
and a few things about that, before I get back to a couple of other points, is that the thing that did suck about this year was the fact that our last playoff game, his last game ever, was the
you mean the game that Matthew Stafford threw a dagger touchdown, threw a dagger pass to get into field goal range to end Tom Brady's career? Go ahead.
Who cares? So
I do, and that's all that matters.
So that was actually the first game, I'm pretty sure, all season that we had our entire defense together as one healthy unit. We brought every single person back, but unfortunately we never once got to play with the whole entire unit since bringing them back, which was extremely unfortunate.
Right.
There's some big question marks going into next year. I mean, because now we've lost our quarterback, our tight end, and then potentially a wide receiver with Chris Godwin being a free agent as well.
Yep.
He's probably going to want to get paid. And looking at our books for the future, I don't know that we can afford yet another big contract. So we'll see how it goes, because the thing is that the way they baked a lot of these contracts was so that basically we could fit everyone now under the cap, and then they'll get their money later on in their contracts. And so it's going to get bad fast. And luckily we didn't pull a Rams and give away every single draft pick that exists to win it, which is actually what the Bucks did in 2002 to win that Super Bowl. Is we actually gave up 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, and something else, a bunch of money or something like that, to the Raiders to get John Gruden. We didn't even get players. We just got fucking John Gruden. After firing Tony Dungy, which is hilarious. So anyways, so the Buccaneers kind of went full Rams back then in a much stupider way. I guess it worked, so whatever. But we went all in a very different way this time, though.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, it's one of those things where it's going to suck for a little bit. It's going to be rough, but these are the growing pains these are the pains that you have to endure as a franchise in exchange for winning a championship, because not every single time you win a championship is it in the most clean cut way. I mean, if you're the Buccaneers, you got to take advantage when it's there. Right. So, to bring in Tom Brady, to do that, and to, and from the sounds of it, from everyone in the organization, it just sounds like Tom came in and changed everything. Like,
I mean,
like
and
every
whole
player
thing was a success.
Yeah. Like
even though now that he's gone, I mean, it sucks or whatever. And it sucks that we lost this year, but we won a championship. So ultimately the next 10 years are just, who cares?
Well, yeah, not only that, but also I think the franchise going forward, I think you're going to be better for having Tom Brady. I think you have more of a culture now than what you had before. I think,
which was almost none.
Yeah. I think whoever steps in and fills those seats next, understands who they're replacing. And and teammates are going to recognize how he can be better as a leader, because they saw the greatest leader in the history of quarterbacks in their locker room. So,
Come to think of it, by the way, we're missing actually more people than I remember, because we lost our offensive coordinator, soon to be defensive coordinator, and Antonio Brown bailed. So we're actually missing 2 wide receivers potentially.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so we are definitely hitting. We're gonna be in the house of pain a little bit.
Hey, you know what? At least you won something. Okay,
we sure did.
Take it, appreciate it, and maybe you'll get to a point someday where, or maybe even I'll get to a point someday where my greatest moment in the life of being an NFL fan was when my childhood quarterback won and got to the Super Bowl for another franchise.
Zoink, Scoop.
I cried. I literally cried. But anyway,
I believe that. If there's honestly anything that I can thank Tom Brady for, even more than the championship, it might be the fact that him coming to our franchise drove the Bucs to go from this fucking digital clock horseshit in this awful, like, orange fucking color back to these beautiful blood red, amazing original unis. This fucking shit. Like, God damn it. And you know what's even worse, Sean?
Can you imagine, by the way, if Tom Brady wore that shit?
Dude, there was so many edits when he first signed with us, because this was our uniform. And there was a lot of edits with him in this, and it was really something. Now, I will say this, you know what's really sickening, and really what shows me as a Bucs fan is the fact that I have so many memories of this stupid ass Jameis Winston uniform that I actually low key like this uni still. Like, even though I understand that it sucks, I understand the digital clock's terrible. I understand that I hate it and that it was nothing but pain.
Well, because it's the nostalgia.
Yes, it's still such a part of my childhood. We wore this from like 2013 or something like that till now. So that was where I graduated high school till now. So like most of my adult life has been in this fucking uniform. So,
I get it, man. Believe me, there are a litany of Pistons uniforms that I look back on fondly that I hated. So believe me, I am with you on that. And believe me, compared to that, if you compare Pistons jerseys to that, you're fine. If that's worst,
for sure.
If that's the worst thing your organization's ever done, that's good, because I can show you some sleeved Motor City jerseys from a few years ago if you want to take a gander.
I hate those so bad. It's actually, some people consider them the worst in NFL history. Some consider them the best. I'm one of those who considers it the best. I actually don't have my favorite Buccaneers uniforms, the creamsicles.
Oh, the creamsicles are hot. Those are hot.
I know. I need to get one of those soon. I'm thinking that I'm gonna pick up a Mike Allstott at some point. I think that'd be pretty cool. That, or maybe like a John Lynch or something like that. Either way, I'm gonna probably get some of those. I actually on eBay almost got a really cheap Trent Dilfer just for the fun, for the meme.
Of course you did.
But I ended up not picking it up. But yeah, the creamsicles gotta happen at some point. But yeah, no, as a Bucs fan, it is a weird thing because he wasn't with the team super long, but he came in, and for the first time in my life, it was really, truly fun to be a Buccaneers fan. And he gave us glory, and it was really, really great. The only thing that is honestly probably the worst about any of this experience is the fact that the year that we were the best and the year that we won the the season that we were the best and leading into the Super Bowl, because technically it's 2 different years or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The point is that basically the entire beginning of the NFL season to us winning the championship, and then certainly the rest of that year, was one of the most challenging times in my life. Especially I was going through a lot of crazy, mental health stuff, and I was in a really, really, really bad space.
Not to mention that it was happening during COVID. And
yeah, I mean, there was COVID, there was, family members dying. There was the fact that I was dealing with, derealization and all sorts of like really fucked mental health issues and whatever. And so, the thing that honestly sucks the most is the fact that I feel like I didn't experience any of it in a way. It happened, but it's like I've been going on YouTube trying to find like clips and stuff like that and whatever, and like rewatch it, because it's like I didn't really get to experience it.
Yeah, it happened so quickly in such a crazy time.
Yeah,
that it's almost hard to process him being on that team and what that meant. Because like I remember watching last year's Super Bowl, and it was with the COVID crowd. There was about like 9,000 people maybe, and it was all like cardboard cutouts and seats. I remember
that shit was weird.
I remember I just remember everything about that game not feeling the same. You know what I'm saying? Like it just,
yeah.
I mean, they did the best that they could, but I mean, the thing is that every time Tom Brady took a field in a game, every time, you always thought he was going to win.
Always.
There was no man that struck more fear in me, genuinely, whenever they would step on the field than Tom Brady. That's why the losses, or that's why like the game, like the Eagles Patriots game, when the Philly special happened and when they forced the turnovers, it's like those, like or the Great Lakes the Giants had to take, like the Mario Manningham catch, the
helmet.
Yeah, the helmet catch from David Tyree, like all that stuff. Like the thing is that it's very much it's very reminiscent to me of when Kobe's career ended, in the sense that like now I've grown to have now it's different in the sense that when Kobe retired, I grew to love Kobe. I grew to respect Tom Brady. I grew to love Kobe Bryant.
Right.
But for me, it's like once you realize, it's like it is one of those things where once their career is over, you can truly take a step back. And even if you rooted against them, like, even if you root against a team in sports, you grow to appreciate those teams because you remember having so much fun rooting against them. Genuinely, like rooting against Tom Brady was a blast. It was stressful as hell. I would always come out on the wrong end of it, but you know what? It was fun. So I have a lot of positive memories tied to Tom Brady. I have a lot of negative memories tied to Tom Brady. But the crazy thing is, I'm sitting here, this guy literally quarterbacked since I was 4 years old, and I am 24, and I'm about to be 25. Like that's how long this guy did it. And that is insane.
No, it's crazy because when he took over was the year that my brother was born. So I was 6 years old. And the funny thing my man has been playing since 9/11.
Yeah.
Like when you think about 9/11, it feels like a long time ago, especially when you it feels like yesterday, but it also feels like a zillion years ago, especially when you watch clips and you realize that like cell phones weren't really a thing and like people were still using like pagers and all this dumb shit. And you're like, wait a minute, 2001 was like a fucking million years ago, it feels like.
Well, it's the thing too, that you have to remember that a lot of these guys that were coming in and playing NFL games now were infants on 9/11 or weren't even born on 9/11. Like we're not quite there yet. Like it's probably this year or next year when we're going to start getting guys that weren't born on 9/11 in the NFL. But the fact that he was so dominant.
Don't we already have that? Justin Herbert?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's true. I guess I was just going general. I guess I forget that guys can enter the league.
Yeah, there's definitely already a few. Yeah.
Yeah. Math.
No, but it's crazy because like, dude, the iPhone didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy when you put certain things into perspective of like
Enron
just how
was
long
thriving. No, I'm kidding. It's just like, no,
Enron was actually very close to being on their way out, which is even crazier. Like Enron was still technically a corporation.
Yeah.
It's also insane because like you think about the guys whose careers, you think of them as legends at this point.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, Brett Favre. I mean, guys like, even Phillip Rivers. I mean, he didn't win a championship, but Phillip Rivers had a great career.
Yeah.
And so many of these other guys or whatever, and we've seen them play. Ben Roethlisberger, and it's just crazy because he lasted longer than, well, not obviously Brett Favre. Brett Favre was before him, but still, like these guys, like he played so much longer than all of these dudes, or he started at a time when it's like, it feels like their careers were so long ago. And some of them really weren't. I mean, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Like Peyton
Manning feels like that was a billion years ago.
Yeah, he retired 6 years ago. Like
that's crazy.
Like the fact that like Manning only came in like a couple years before Brady. They both played college football around the same time. Peyton Manning right now is 45 years old. Which
he's 44, I thought. Or maybe he's 40.
I'm on Google right now. It's 45. Peyton's 45.
Peyton? Oh, Peyton is.
Yeah, Brady's 44, about to turn 45.
Yeah, he will be in August. Yeah.
But like, I remember, and like, this was just like the worst kept secret in sports, like how fucking geriatric Peyton Manning looked his last year. Like, he was really just a clock manager that was able to not turn the ball over and hand over the ball by the end of his career. So, what Tom Brady, perhaps the greatest thing of Tom Brady, other than winning 7 Super Bowls, is his longevity. So, Max Kellerman famously made the falling off a cliff thing on his first day of being on First Take, and
really the best thing ever.
And Tom Brady at that point lasted longer than Max's First Take career did. So
that he did.
That's crazy. So really tells you if you're competing against Tom Brady in something, you're gonna lose.
Yep. I was gonna say it's crazy
unless you're the Giants, actually.
Unless you're the Giants, weirdly enough, unless you're the Giants, or the Saints. He actually had a pretty poor record against the Saints as well.
Yeah.
So,
I
fucking hate that franchise so goddamn much. Anyways, but the point is that
like how I am with the Patriots and with Brady and
I feel like the Saints are kind of would be your Green Bay in a lot of ways, but
fuck Green Bay.
But like it's weird too, like the amount of like phases I went through in the NFL that he's existed to, right? Because like I always liked him, or I even respected him, even if I was rooting against him. Because since my team never made the playoffs ever, basically throughout my life, it was like I would usually pick a team that was my playoff team, and kind of stick with them every year. As like, oh well, they've been making the playoffs, so that's gonna be my team during the playoffs. And for a while there, it was the Seahawks. And so I remember when Peyton Manning played against the Seahawks, and I remember being so excited during that game.
Yeah.
Because he immediately there was like the safety or whatever, the fumble and all that bullshit. I mean, that game was amazing.
Yeah.
Watching Russ win his championship. And then I was so heartbroken when the Patriots came back and won that fucking game against the Seahawks. I was so mad.
Dude, but, I literally I went to bed so angry that night. Like, I don't think I can explain to you when Brady won his 5th, his 6th, and his 7th ring, how angry I was when that happened, because it was always, okay, great, that guy won it. Who else? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but again, that just speaks to the and it's one of those things where if he's on your team, it's the greatest thing ever. If you're an outsider looking in, it's the worst thing ever. You know what I mean?
It's funny because it's definitely a thing of like, you for sure, like everyone from our generation love Michael Jordan. But as a hardcore Pistons fan, the funny thing is, oh my God, you would hate him with the fire of 1,000 suns.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's literally like the Aaron Rodgers, but 10 times worse because he's a direct divisional rival, and all they do is win.
Listen, man, if I grew up in the Jordan era and I was like a Bad Boys Pistons fan, I'd be calling LeBron the greatest of all time right now.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
But
just to stick it to him.
Yeah, exactly. But here I am. You know what I mean? I'm sensible. But no, but in all seriousness, it's just like, but again, that just speaks to it. Again, it all just circles back to the fact that everything you can say about Tom Brady, it all just circles back to his greatness. Like he is so good that his legacy literally is not in question. Like he's like the guy that normally when a guy retires, there's all the speculation or there's all the talk of how do you think he'll be remembered, or how great do you think he was? It's like, yep, Tom Brady's the greatest football player ever.
Easily.
Like there's nothing to say. So, I mean, I argued it for years. I did. I'm not going to lie. I was a Joe Montana truther for quite a while. And then
actually, I was going to bring him up earlier of the fact that he's like my Tom Brady in a way of like the guy that like, I know Joe Montana went to Notre Dame. And so for that reason, I love him as a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah.
But like he was around in the 80s. I wasn't around. So like, I don't know shit about him really. I never saw him either college or the NFL, but like, because he was with Notre Dame, like that's cool, but it doesn't mean much to me, much like, Tom Brady being at Michigan didn't mean a whole lot to you or whatever.
Right. Well, and again, that's just one of the things where I think as you grow older too, like when you're younger, you're like, oh, that guy played at my college, I'm going to root for him. But now it's kind of like oh, he played at Michigan. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And now if a Tom Brady type guy came through Notre Dame and he went to a team that I didn't hate, like as long as he didn't go to the Saints, I would be on him like you've never seen. I would love him.
Oh, I root for Michigan guys. Like, don't get me wrong.
For sure.
Like watching the Orlando Magic have the Wagner brothers right now. Fun as hell. But I mean, at the end of the day, when they play my Pistons, I hope they get their throats stomped in. You know what I'm saying?
It's ironic that they went to the team that is owned by the DeVosses, who are from our city. I mean, it's very weird. It's very fucking
They go
circle. It's very weird.
They go get to play in the Amway Arena,
the Pyramid Scheme Arena. Love it.
The Pyramid Scheme.
Well, that is a venue.
I know that was the joke.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, most people from Grand Rapids know that. Everyone else, they're like, what the fuck? Okay. But no, yeah, I think that pretty much is all there is to say about Tom. But yeah, I'm unbelievably grateful. I will forever, have this championship, which is awesome. And I'm glad that I got to see it, because as much as, I would complain about how bad the Bucks are and people would be like, well, yeah, but at least your team has won a championship in their history. I'm like, well, that's true. But I was like 7. So, I'm like, it means nothing to me. I'm like, all I know is failure. So, I mean, this is all that I had, of this.
Robert,
we drafted Roberto Aguayo in the 2nd round. Okay. And he was off the team within 2 years.
It's like you forget that I can relate. I mean,
oh no, for sure. No, you can. But the thing is, like, I've had fans of like other teams, even like Packers fans or whatever, that would like say, or whatever, like, oh, well, you guys have won a championship. I'm like, who cares? Also, fuck you, dude, who has like 30 championships or whatever.
And this last Super Bowl, like his 7th ring, like I said, I was mad. I really wasn't. I was actually happy he won that last one, because I was happy for you and association. But I mean, obviously if you won an 8th, that'd be way too fucking much, but I'm glad they didn't.
Well, and also I think that a lot of people thought it was cool to see this, whether they hated him or not, just because it was like, oh shit, he actually was able to do it without Belichick. So
and the
was
fact
pretty
that
crazy.
like, and by the way, the fact that people attributed his greatness exclusively to Bill Belichick,
hilarious.
Yeah, that aged like Kool-Aid sitting out in the sun all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, that definitely, really, really shitty take. But yeah, no, it's cool. I love that, every time that we get a new franchise quarterback, I always get the jersey. So there is some stuff missing in here. Yeah, of course. I mean, technically Josh McCown was in there, Mike Glennon was in there.
Glennon, hell of a quarterback, man.
Fitzmagic was in there. But as far as franchise QBs, the ones that I've lived through were Josh Freeman, Jameis Winston, and now, of course, Tom Brady. So it'll be interesting to see what we do going forward, whether it's Trask, whether it's some free agent that we go out and get, whether it's a guy we draft even though we don't have a very high pick. Maybe we'll make a trade for it. I don't know.
Well, this is a draft class. This is a draft class where a lot of the quarterbacks seem to be going later in the first round. So
yeah, and who knows? Maybe we get one and maybe they actually end up being way better than anyone expects. I mean, there's a lot of who knows.
Maybe they could be better than Tom Brady.
I doubt that, but we'll see. Either way, and no matter what happens from this point forward, thank you, Tom Brady, and forever go Bucks.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Well, now that
I finished my White Russian, I wish I had more.
Now that we got all the positive football talk out of the way, let's start.
Yeah, there's a lot more to go.
Let's shit down the NFL's throats for a little bit.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead and lead us on this one.
I appreciate it. So, it was announced today that Brian Flores officially submitted a class action lawsuit, a class representative lawsuit, essentially suing on behalf of himself and all other black coaches, black GMs, essentially black figures in the league, non-players getting hired is really the best way to put it. Yep. Not the best way, but the simplest way.
Right.
Suing the National Football League, the New York Giants, the Miami Dolphins, the Denver Broncos, and the entire NFL. Actually, they are suing the entire league. And essentially, what is alleged in this class action lawsuit, which was released on the first day of Black History Month. Not by accident. It is cited in the motion. It talks about how essentially the NFL is unfairly treating coaches and how Brian Flores is unfairly treated throughout this process. Now, obviously, a lot of these things are at this point are technically considered allegations. I just have to say that out front.
Yeah.
But with that, Brian Flores, with that, he accused of a lot of things. The Miami Dolphins owner at one point came to him, Stephen Ross, and asked him to on purpose lose games in the 2019 season. And in return,
which is just amazing. Sorry, keep going.
Which in return, he would be paid $100,000 per loss. He said no. And apparently the owner was furious. In addition, another thing that the owner did that made that put him not in his good graces was when the owner asked him to recruit a quarterback to Miami, a star quarterback that was on another team, that it would be tampering. And he set up the meeting anyway and told Brian right before the quarterback would get there. And so, not wanting to tamper, Brian Flores left. But the most damning, I mean, there's a lot of things in here that are damning, but
right. For sure.
Yeah. But the two most damning things in this report, one is screenshots of texts supposedly with Bill Belichick, congratulating, who he thought he was texting, which was Brian DeBull and not Brian Flores, about getting the Giants job. Now, here's the problem.
Yeah.
When Brian Flores received these texts, he had not even interviewed for the job yet.
Right.
And so the texts say, sounds like you have landed. Congrats. Did you hear something I didn't hear? And he's like, Giants? And he's like, I interview on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it. He said, got it. I hear from Buffalo and New York Giants that you are their guy. Hope it works out if you want it to. And he said, that's definitely what I want to hear. I hope you're right, coach. Thank you. Coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian DeBull? Just making sure. And then he says, and I quote, sorry, I fucked this up. I double checked and I misread the text. I think they are naming the bull. I'm sorry about that. BB. And then so obviously not Bill's fault in the sense that he just was texting someone. He was congratulating.
He's 100% not the bad guy in any of this. He was doing nothing wrong, but it is one of the funniest exchanges I've ever seen.
Yeah, he was just an old man with his phone. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, he didn't have any ill will or intention. He had no idea.
Now, I do want to point out this part of the lawsuit because this is crazy. And it says, incredibly, this was not Mr. Flores' first sham interview that was held only in an effort to comply with the Rooney Rule. Indeed, in 2019, Mr. Flores was scheduled to interview with the Denver Broncos. However, the Broncos' then general manager, John Elway, president and chief executive officer, Joe Ellis, and others showed up an hour late to the interview. They looked completely disheveled, and it was obvious they had been drinking heavily the night before. It was clear from the substance of the interview that Flores was interviewed only because of the Rooney Rule, and that the Broncos never had any intention to consider him as a legitimate coach for the job. Shortly thereafter, Vic Fangio, a white man, was hired to be the head coach of the Broncos. So just to share some statistics before we get into this, because there's a lot to dive in.
Well, by the way, the Denver Broncos are now for sale.
Yep, for over $4 billion. Not exactly a great time for this to come out for them, but
zoinks.
Yeah, freaking zoinks. But anyway, of the 32 teams in the National Football League, currently only one of those teams has a black head coach, Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Of 32 NFL teams, only 4 offensive coordinators are black. Only 11 are defensive coordinators. Only 8 are special teams coordinators. Only 3 are quarterback coaches, and only 6 employ a black general manager. And this is in the same league that's over 70% of its players are black. And
correct.
It has real plantation-y vibes to it, in the sense that especially when you have the rich executives in the booth that are hiring their friends, there's almost no a lot of people talk about how there's almost no path from being a player to being a coach, which if there was, we'd be seeing more black coaches now than we have.
Right.
So with that, that is a lot. Now, is he going to win the lawsuit? Probably not. There's not a whole lot here that can really, that a court of law can prove. However, this is a pretty damning report.
Yes.
At the very least, this is a bad PR. This is a bad PR look for the NFL, especially later this week. They're going to have members of the former employees of Washington football team will be testifying before Congress about some of the stuff that was going on there. So it's just one of those things where it's going to be, it's going to be bad for a little while. So, I
was going to say, if you want me to kind of give
go ahead.
My thoughts. Yeah. So,
sorry. I think I see some potential breaking news.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, first of all, ahead of the announcement, they spotted a Washington Commanders banner at FedEx Field.
I told you.
And I haven't gotten full confirmation on this one just yet.
I was going to hop in for that one. So before the pod started, Sean and I were talking, and he was saying that they were going to announce it soon. I was like, oh, right. You mean the Washington Commanders? And he goes, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, for weeks we've known that it's going to be the Commanders, which sucks because one of the options that I actually heard as the first original leak was the Admirals. And I thought Washington Admirals actually is kind of cool. It reminds me of the Mariners, whatever. But like, yeah, no, they went with Commanders, which is possibly the worst of all the options because it's so lame and so clunky and does not roll off the tongue.
So that was the first breaking news I got in this pod.
Here we go. Let's hear it.
Here's the second one. Report. Jim Harbaugh plans to become the next coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep, that sounds about right. He did have an interview in it. I was seeing a lot of stuff circulating that was more or less going to be expected on some level. So yeah.
Per Mike Florio, apparently the interview on Wednesday, which by the way was during National Signing Day, was merely a formality. And although he hasn't addressed the team, he reportedly said some goodbyes and thank yous on Monday.
Gotcha.
So it's not over until the fat lady sings. However, she's in the choir room warming up.
No, I think and we won't get into it very much because we have a lot of other things.
I'd rather talk about the Brian Flores stuff right now. That's way more important, but I did want to share that breaking news. So
for sure. Yeah. And I think that's a good fit for him. I actually think that's going to work really well. So good for him and good for the Vikings. But back to the thing about everything that came out with Brian Flores. And like you said, he's not going to win the lawsuit, which is the part that sucks, but
he might never get a coaching
job. That's really not
job.
the point.
He might never get a coaching job again.
He definitely will never.
Not in the NFL.
No shot.
No. I hope he can get like a prominent. I say this as if like this is realistic. I'm like, maybe he could get a college job, and then it's like, wait, no
shot.
College is even more morally corrupt than the NFL somehow. So,
he is basically Colin Kaepernicking himself. And the thing of it is too, right, is that I guarantee you, if I asked some of my black friends, like, what do you think of this? They'd be like, oh yeah, we pretty much, go figure. That's what we probably would have assumed, that the Rooney Rule was just being completely like, whatever, do that as a formality, but it was never being taken seriously. Because, the thing is I've had a lot of conversations that have, been very interesting and very sort of eye-opening for me over the years with a lot of my friends that obviously, being white and, not having the same perspective, you don't look at things the same way. Right. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I never really thought about too much until it was brought up by some of my black friends was the fact that they were like, look at quarterbacks in the NFL, right? And look at the amount of, black quarterbacks that are starting QBs. And then where do they go after that? And the thing of it is too, like, name one at this point, pretty much, backup quarterback that is black. You can't much.
I mean, maybe the backup in Baltimore, the one that played for Lamar quite a bit this year. But
maybe. Well, but the thing of it is like the broader point here, and it goes to guys like Cam Newton or, even maybe potentially Jameis Winston or whomever. And the thing of it is, hell, even Josh Freeman here, or whatever, is the fact that when a black player is not good enough, let's say, to be a starter, right? Or they're good for a while, but they have one bad season, they're immediately pretty much just kicked out of the league. Like, no team's going to sign them. Fuck you. But a guy like Josh McCown or Mike Glennon or whoever the fuck, Trent Dilfer, since he's white, he is just as bad, if not worse, than these two fucking quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, not only
they're allowed to be in the league for up to 10 years as a backup quarterback.
Well, and now it's funny you bring up that name of all people, because now reportedly the favorite to get the head coaching job for the Houston Texans is Josh McCown, who, by the way, has no coaching experience.
Zero. He barely has fucking quarterback experience. He's been to like 30 different teams and he was terrible on all of them.
And that's where the atrocity or the atrocity in all of this is. And that's where the blatant systematic racism is, because, even though the Texans might genuinely believe that they have their guy, which, listen, if they do, great.
Good for them, I guess, but holy fuck.
Now I feel pretty safe in saying that this hire's not going to go over well. I feel pretty safe saying that this team might not get more than 1 or 2 wins next year. I feel really safe saying that that the fact that the owner of the Houston Texans has a great relationship with Mitch McConnell might not be much of a coincidence, especially with how Arian, their new head coach, is going to look. But it's just one of those things where, especially, it's especially maddening when you have other leagues like the NBA that do it so well, that have a lot of great black coaches, but also black executives. You have a lot of,
and they're still trying to get better.
Yeah. Oh, 100% the league. Yeah. And they're still like, we're not doing good enough. We need to do better.
Sure.
But the difference is like, when the NBA has social justice, players will come out in shirts saying we aren't playing, or like, we aren't, essentially it's like, no true equality until all humans are equal. Like they go hard for Martin Luther King Day. Like the NBA is so in tune. And
here's the thing with that.
History,
yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say the history is so entwined with social history and with civil rights history and the movement in general, that to see them in contrast to the NBA or the NFL and hate or stop hate and racism.
I mean,
it
Jesus
takes all
fucking
of us.
Christ.
Like, just like they.
I literally sent that to you as a joke when you sent me this article about everything going on and whatever, because I'm just like, that's literally, I mean,
yeah,
that's the league, man. It's such horse shit.
But that's the thing, is that the NFL owners, they're not even trying to hide it, is the thing. They are so unabashedly okay with things staying the way that they are, because at the end of the day, they're making a ton of money. Their bottom line is fine. And the thing that sucks about all this is that in a week and a half, we're all going to be sitting there watching the Super Bowl, passing queso back and forth, going, oh yeah, they have a real problem with their coaching. Hey, can you pass me the spinach dip? It's, you know what I'm saying? So it just feels disgusting, man.
Well, and most of the owners are like 90 years old. They're all white, they're all billionaires. And I mean, it really feels like all these guys are like Django Unchained. You know what I mean? It's like they're the fucking, plantation owners who are like 900 years old, and they're like, I don't have time for players with sand. You know what I mean? So it's like they have this like old shitty racist vibe about them, because they are. I mean, a lot of these people have been around since, segregation. And they probably were on the wrong side of that. And
not probably.
Exactly.
Not
so
probably.
And so they all have this sort of almost Mandango like attitude about players, where it's just like, your property to my team, and as long as you bring value and success and that kind of thing, you're allowed to be on it. But the second I don't need you, you can get the fuck out of here.
Well, and
and it's insane to me. Like a player like Colin Kaepernick, right, who was able to make it to a Super Bowl. He had the audacity to do something as small as kneeling, and he never got to play another football game again, which is insane. Yeah. Guys like him, guys like, like I mentioned before, Cam Newton, even though he had a bad season or whatever, stuff like that, the last couple of seasons, Jameis Winston, fucking, Freeman, whatever. I mean, Winston, technically he's a starter, but we don't know what his future holds. And there's many, 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 many other black quarterbacks, Teddy Bridgewater, whatever. I mean, technically he's a starter, but everyone talks about, right? Teddy Bridgewater, they look at the Broncos and they go, oh, they need an actual quarterback, you know what I mean? Or whatever. And it's just like the language and the dialogue around a lot of these players. It's like the second that they're not good enough, they never get a chance to be a backup. Whereas guys like fucking Mike Glennon can suck complete ass. Yep. And yet for some reason, Colin Kaepernick's not good enough to be a backup or, Freeman or Winston or whatever. And it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's like, how is that fucking possible? Are you kidding me? Well, are you fucking kidding me?
And the thing is like with players, it's a little easier to see on the surface how bad they are and how there's guys out there that are clearly better. Coaches of late, it's become way more noticeable. Like, for example, I don't know, Cliff Kingsbury getting an NFL job when he had little to no success at the college level. He was going to go coach USC. Immediately went on a plane after his introductory press conference pretty much and just went and took the Cardinals job. You have guys like Joe Judge who play or the
horrendous.
The fucking special teams coordinator for Bill Belichick for a little bit. And then now he gets now he was coaching the Giants and it was clear how over his head he was in.
And as a guy who listens every single day to New York media, I listen to the Michael Kay show every single day. The New York media believed in Joe Judge, was excited for that hire, and thought that he was going to bring the Giants to something. Well, and it's just insane. Fucking insane.
Even the hires, this off season were weird. Like so for example, like I don't know much about the candidate that the Giants hired. Brian.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
I have never in my life heard his fucking name.
Yeah.
Never once.
But what I do know.
But Flores, I've heard as being a top candidate to be the head coach of a team.
Yeah.
And yet, of all the vacancies, Minnesota, nope. The Raiders, nope. The Giants, nope.
Yep.
But he was supposed to be the number one.
Yeah.
Going into this offseason, I heard a whole bunch of people on ESPN talking about he was the number one coaching hire that everyone projected. And yet he's probably going to be the last or never again at this point. Not with all this coming out, but before this.
Well, before this, I mean, there were still vacancies open. Miami still technically hasn't said what they're doing with their coach. Houston, I mean, they're a whole fucking bag of worms down there. It's just one of those things where when you know that they can be better and that they're literally just choosing not to, that's where the problems lie. You know what I mean? And so this is an issue that is going to go on for a long time. This is something that's been going on for a long time. I think it's time though that we acknowledge that the NFL just fucking sucks. Like
biggest thing.
I love their product. I hate their league.
Yes, for sure. Well, the biggest thing too is the Rooney Rule was put in place to try to avoid these types of things. But the thing of it is that they wanted to make it so that it wasn't, just bullshit in a way of well, you have to hire a black guy, because then it's well, what if there's someone more qualified? That's not fair. You know what I mean? And that is true. That's not fair. But the thing of it is that by making it non-mandatory, it ended up just being a complete sham anyway. So you might as well not even fucking have the rule.
Well, yeah, because
I don't even know what the solution is. It's obviously the problem, and it fucking is terrible. And I think that in some ways, one of the things we can look forward to, honestly, is these owners dying. As they do, because they're old as shit. And so as they die, younger people will be coming charge. And obviously the younger they get, the more close to probably being progressive that they're going to be.
Right. And but again, the other problem with that is that a lot of those teams get passed down generation after generation. So a lot of those times it stays in the family. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these people, and again, this is it's a whole freaking bag of worms. It is a 50+ page lawsuit with a lot of things in there that we haven't even touched on, or I don't even know about yet. There is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we hit a lot of the bullet points,
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not surprised by any of them. I am on some level, but not really.
Yeah, but it's it's even back in the day when, or earlier this season, when Mike Tomlin was asked about going to USC and getting that job. And he was like, I have one of the best jobs in pro sports. I have one of the most prestigious jobs in the NFL. No, I'm not going anywhere. That,
Could you imagine if he leaves and then we have literally not a single black coach?
Yeah, but it just goes back to, and then it just goes back to this. How many times have we seen Eric Bieniemy be up for coaching jobs? Because generally speaking, whenever you go and you hire somebody, the obvious candidates are always the best team's defensive coordinator and the best team's offensive coordinator. Well, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes' coordinator, has interviewed for jobs almost every single season just to be Rooney Rule bullshit interviews where he's not seriously considered. I'm sorry, Matt LaFleur, he's turned out great in Green Bay. The year that he was hired by the Green Bay Packers, he was the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, who ranked 27th in offense. And Eric Bieniemy was available, has had a number one offense multiple years, has been talked about great things by all of his players. Everyone that's played for him, everyone that has him as an offensive coordinator talks about how much they love him. And
well, look at it. Even the things that are even more like blatant as well. Things like the last time that the Lions actually looked really good, who was their coach?
The last time the Lions are really good.
Yeah.
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, exactly. And then he wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So what did they do?
9-7 wasn't
exactly
good
right.
enough. 9-7 wasn't good enough.
He finally showed some promise, was finally getting this team together, was starting to finally find things for Matthew Stafford to build on and to get the line somewhere. It wasn't good enough. So what did they do? They went out and found some fancy pants dude from the Patriots or whatever who was white. And look at where they are at now. Same thing with the Buccaneers twice, by the way. Tony Dungy, one of the greats that we talk about. He wasn't good enough. So they went out and they gave up 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a bunch of fucking money to go get stupid John Gruden. And then again, we had Lovie Smith, who admittedly we weren't doing very good, but we weren't going to anyways. And then we had to get rid of him so that we could get Dirk Cutter, who was a fucking disaster. So I mean, how many times does it happen to have to happen where a black coach is doing well or getting a team somewhere, and then it's just like, okay, we're starting to get good, so we actually don't want you to get the credit, so we're gonna put a white guy.
Right. Well, it's even like I understand Todd Bowles. It didn't exactly go well when he was the head coach in the Jets, which, by the way,
sure,
it's the Jets, of course.
It's the fucking Jets.
Yeah.
And he's been amazing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that our coach Brian Leftwich got a job with the Jaguars. I'm surprised he even got it, to be honest with you, with all of this going on or whatever. But we'll see what happens with Bowles.
What I was going to say is, why isn't Todd Bowles being considered for a position? Because again, it comes back to the fact that, like, here's what I do know. The Buccaneers had a top tier defense the past 2 years. And, if I were to, I'm not sure where the Colts rank in defense compared to the league. But all I know is I never heard of anyone talk about their defensive coordinator the way we did about Todd Bowles.
Yep.
So
no, it's insane, man. And like, to jump sort of segueing into my favorite segment, the Raider Report.
The Raider Report.
So the Raider Report is that we have a brand new head coach and we have a brand new general manager. And surprise, surprise, they're both white and they're from the Patriots. Because of course they would be. Why the fuck would they not be? You have to be white and from the Patriots if you want to get a job at this point.
Well, now, I mean, listen. Here's what I will say. It's not like the head coaching hire is completely ridiculous, right? I mean, like, Josh McDaniels has a history. He's one of the best offensive coordinators in the league. It's been such a long time since he's been a coach. Everyone that's been around him has talked about how he's ready for this, how he was ready to go.
Yeah. I was going to say, as a Raiders fan, I have a lot of optimism, because I have to, because I really don't have a choice anyways. As a Raider fan, I do have optimism, because my thing is I'm like, listen, the Colts, I generally think of as an organization that's pretty damn well run and usually makes pretty good decisions, and they wanted him and he turned them down. And now he's with us. The second thing is that the Patriots traditionally have had some really, really, really good draft picks and scouting and that kind of thing. And that's exactly where our general manager comes from. So yeah, I have a lot of hope in that. It's just one of those things where, I have a lot of hope in that, and that's great. And that's a very, very good hire, I think, for the Raiders, and I'm very, very hopeful and everything like that, and that's great. But yeah, it just does come down to, yet again, it's just like, unfortunately, like, it comes down to this too, of like, oh, well, we hired the white guy, right? Because he had better credentials. And it's like, well, how the fuck is a black guy going to get the credentials if you fucking fire them all the goddamn time, or you don't give them the opportunity, or the only teams that they're ever allowed to coach is weirdly the shitty ones, right? You ever notice how black head coaches are the head coach of the Lions, the Jets, the Buccaneers, the Raiders, when they're shitty, not when they're successful,
the Dolphins,
not when they're successful, when they're shitty. Same thing with the Jaguars. Right now they have Byron Leftwich, our offensive coordinator, who I'm, bummed that we're losing, but good for him. I mean, he's getting like a young team or whatever and stuff like that. And like, who knows, maybe he can help turn things around with Trevor Lawrence, whatever. But I suspect that they're going to be shitty again. And probably by the time they get good, they're probably going to fucking fire him. Like, that's the thing that like they literally use them as almost placeholders. And the same thing, look at the quarterback situation. The only time that a black quarterback who's clearly a failed quarterback, you know, it's like they use him as a placeholder. Like Cam Newton, he was a placeholder until they got Mac Jones. Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater is a placeholder until they get someone else.
Yeah.
It's just like they're never put in a position the same way as like, you know, Josh McCown, like obviously he'd be like a placeholder or something like that, or Ryan Fitzpatrick, he was a placeholder and stuff like that, and they're white and stuff like that, whatever. But like they're guys that are going to be around in the league for a long time, be somewhat highly respected as a decent backup and this and that, whatever. And you kind of hear a positive spin on their careers of like, yeah, they never really worked out, but you know, and like Minshew magic and this, that, whatever, all this bullshit. But like Teddy Bridgewater or Cam Newton or like any of these guys, do you ever hear anything fucking positive about them?
Right.
You don't, and it's just it's like they're the same fucking thing, dude.
Now here's the thing. I mean, I looked up Matt Eberflus is his name, the new coach of the Bears.
Yeah,
Matt
whoever the
Eberflus.
Fuck that is. I've literally never heard of this guy.
Yeah, defensive coordinator for the Colts. He was their defensive coordinator since 2018. Total defense in those 4 years: 11th, 16th, 8th, 16th. Now I will say apparently
it's fine.
Well, yeah, which that's fine. But again, you know, if you're getting a guy, you know, hey, Todd Bowles, #1 defense.
Yep.
Matt Eberflus, 16th. And some of that's personnel. I mean, listen, this guy, here's what I will say. Sounds like he's renowned for run stop defense. At their best, the Colts were second in rushing defense, 90 yards a game. Like that's really good, obviously. But, you know, and obviously the Bears going, you know, it's always the thing of after you hire a defensive coach, you have to hire an offensive one because that's how it goes. You have to go back and forth and keep switching your identity. Back and forth, stip stab. Do you have any kind of toll what 3 head coaches have on a person? Sorry, I was making that into an Office reference, but anyway.
No, I like it.
Yeah, man. Like just the more you dig into this, it's just.
Well, another thing, sorry, that I just happened to think of while I was sitting here that also pisses me off, man. As a person who works around a lot of old white people, right? It's such an interesting perspective, right? Because I have a decent amount of, you know, non-white friends, whether it be Hispanic, Black, whatever. And all of my coworkers are old and white. So it's a weird dynamic because the people I hang around with outside of work and the people I see at work, right? And the people I see at work constantly, the shit that I have to fucking suffer through and hear is about how they hate guys like Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
They hate guys like, sorry, who's the one from the Colts? Or not the Colts, the Cardinals.
Oh, Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. They hate Russell Wilson. They hate all of these guys because they don't like their attitude or they don't like their, you know, cockiness or they're this or they're that or whatever stupid fucking comment you have about them, right? Or the fact that, oh, they're just a glorified running back of this or that or whatever, right.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you talk about a white quarterback who has the same fucking attitude, if you will.
No.
Or
hold
the same
on.
Whatever. Yeah. Then suddenly it's like, oh, I just loved his passion, or he was just so smart. He was so fucking smart. Are you fucking kidding? Like Aaron Rodgers, like I've heard Packer fans be like, he's so fucking smart. And I'm like, he has 1 Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
He has 1. And you know, the funny thing is Russell Wilson also has fucking 1.
Yep.
But he is a washed up hack who doesn't deserve to be on a team because he's had a couple of bad seasons with nothing around him and a coach who fucking blows.
And again,
he's the problem.
And a lot of these coaches out here getting a lot of opportunities, while guys, to your point, like Jim Caldwell, Todd Bowles, Eric Bieniemy, are just either waiting for their next chance or, in a lot of these guys' cases, just a chance in general. So. Yep.
And they're only going to get a chance. And it's again, I feel like every time I see a black head coach, it is always a transitional thing or they're put in charge of a shitty fucking team. The Chargers, they had a black head coach for a little bit while they knew they were going to suck. And the second they felt like they were going to win, they fucking axed him and they got a white coach.
Well, that's not necessarily where I will push back on, like, not to defend the Chargers. I mean, fuck the
Sure.
Chargers, but I mean, Anthony Lynn, he did bring them to the AFC Championship game, but also he did colossally fuck up and play and coach terribly in their Justin Herbert's rookie year and blew a lot of games. That,
you know who else did? Their current head coach, who went on fourth down at the 15-yard line or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they were right to go white. That's not what I'm justifying here. I'm just
no. You're totally right. Like, he made a lot of mistakes, but you see what I'm saying though, is like they don't have the chance to learn from those mistakes, right? Because the same white coach,
that's
if
true.
He makes those mistakes,
definitely true.
Gets them to the AFC Championship, blah 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 blah, whatever. He makes some mistakes. Oh well, he's learned. Like Josh McDaniels for the Raiders. He learned.
With certain guys, it's pretty apparent when they're looking for cause.
Oh yeah, like literally, because like he will probably never be a head coach again, you know, or some of these guys won't. You know, Todd Bowles, God knows if he'll ever be one again, right? But Josh McDaniels, who looked fucking horrendous, he's learned, he's matured. The people around him like him.
Yeah.
Oh, but Todd Bowles didn't learn. He has the #1 defense for 2 years with the Buccaneers, and he was, by the way, coaching the fucking Jets, but he hasn't learned.
Mike McCarthy, who underachieved with Brett Favre and freaking Aaron Rodgers
and Dak Prescott.
Yep, and Dak Prescott.
He's learned.
Took 1 year away. Was this analytics genius? And then, I lied about that shit. I never knew shit about analytics.
Dude, it's insane. And the thing is Jason Garrett will probably get another fucking job. He learned.
Let's not go too far.
It's entirely possible.
It is, but he also got fired after half a season of being the Giants offensive coordinator.
And that's totally true. And that's totally true. But like
maybe a year and a half.
Like it's
a year and a half.
It's insane because I'm like, the worst fucking coaches.
Yeah.
They get to go somewhere else and be an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator for like a year, keep it quiet. And then suddenly it's, they really learned. Like, I guarantee you probably fucking Matt Patricia's stupid ass. He's going to go learn with the Patriots for a few years, and then he's going to go and be the head coach of the Jets or some dumb shit in a few years. Like, it's just the way it fucking goes. But black coaches, they fuck up one time, you're gone.
Dude, I just never want to see that man have a job in anything again. Like
Matt Patricia, dude, for real. I'm so sick of his pencil. Fucking, like, what was he taking notes of? Fuck that guy.
So did I tell the story of when I went to the Jets game on this podcast?
Not on the podcast, or no, not on the podcast. You've talked to me many times about it, but not on the podcast. Go for it.
All right. Yeah. I know you've heard the story, but for the podcast,
please.
So I went to, I've been to one Lions game in my entire life.
Hold on. That was your only one?
That's my only one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That is my only one. That is my first and only one so far.
Holy shit. Okay. Before you tell that, I'm going to very, very quickly. I've only been to one.
Let's go to one this year.
Let's do that. I was wearing this Josh Freeman jersey, watching Mike Glennon because McCown was hurt. And I watched Mike Glennon. We were like 2-6, beat the Lions in week 3. No, whatever the fuck it was. It was later in the season, and we beat the Lions 24-20 after Matthew Stafford threw a bunch of picks because he fucking sucks. Fuck you, Sean. Anyways, continue.
Go fuck yourself. He's in the Super Bowl anyway.
And my man is on the couch.
And he's probably going to win a Super Bowl. But anywho.
I think he is too, but go Joe Burrow.
Yeah, 100%. But, no, not 100%. But I went to.
I got him.
So, God damn it. It was funny enough. It was Lions Jets. And it was Sam Darnold's first game in the Professional Football League. It was Matt Patricia's debut as the coach of the Lions. It was Monday Night Football. Things were going crazy. Eminem came out before and was on the field for coin toss. Like it was, things were bumping, man.
It was full Detroit.
Yeah, it went full Detroit. And so literally the first play of the game, Sam Darnold throws a pick six. The Quandre Diggs takes it back, touchdown. Everyone's fucking screaming, going crazy. Place is booming. The rest of the game, you could hear a pin drop from across the stadium. Everybody was angry. Everyone got the sense that we had been duped. We had been hoodwinked,
we were hoodwinked,
bamboozled, led astray,
run amok, and flat out deceived.
Exactly. It was one of those things. And like, I remember
watching it and hearing Jets on television.
So when that happened, that was the final minutes of the game. I actually went down and sat.
Wasn't this week 1?
Yeah. So when that happened, funny you bring that up. So many people in the stadium had left. I was able to move down and sit 2 yards up from the 50-yard line behind the Lions bench. And I remember I sat behind Matt Patricia. And I remember specifically just watching his body language, specifically just looking at this guy. I've never seen a man look more fucking hopeless and look more defeated in my entire life. That was game 1. So,
yeah,
that was
I knew immediately that y'all were fucked.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, listen, when we hired him, we were psyched on him. We thought we got the next guru. We thought we got Belichick 2.0. We thought we were going to be heading to, I mean, that's the hopeful Lions fan in me. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but hey, we got the reality. But it's okay. We got Motor City Dan Campbell now biting kneecaps. Let's go, baby.
We sure do. You do, I suppose. The only coach that I think I hate more than Matt Patricia is probably, do you remember the head coach of the Browns? Hugh Jackson, right? Yes. Something. Was it Hugh Jackson?
Who?
Hold on. He was the head coach of the Raiders briefly. He is the worst. Hugh Jackson. Yes, it was Hugh Jackson.
Yes, Hugh Jackson.
There is literally, dude, if you watch Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There is literally in his.
Yeah, he's like, I want to congratulate you. You earned being the backup quarterback. And Baker was just sitting there like,
dude, my man thought he was like the greatest gift to God's earth, and I was like, "Yo, are you fucking kidding me, dude?"
I would like to congratulate you on earning the backup quarterback job.
That dude was such a fucking clown. But no, I just that just brought up him for whatever reason. I was just thinking of like shitty coaches, but no, man. There's just, man, the NFL, it is one of those frustrating things, right? Because like, there's so many great stories in the NFL. There's so many, sort of, people like John Madden have talked about that it's an allegory for life sometimes, or an analogy for life. And there's so many great things about football, and it's such a great sport to watch. And there's so few games that every single game matters. And I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's the American sport at this point. I mean, as much as I am a huge baseball fan, I mean, it's the American sport. It just is.
Well, and here's the thing. And I think we can wrap up a lot of football talk with this. Football is the American sport in good ways and in bad.
Amen, brother.
It represents the best and the worst of us. And it's so intrinsically tied in the fabrics, in the core of that sport. And the problem is, and the thing that sucks, it's like, we're talking about fuck this league. And like you and I a minute ago, it's like, oh hell yeah, let's go to a Lions game. Like, let's fucking go. And like, I want to, cause it's like, I love my team and I love watching football. I love watching the Super Bowl. Like the problem is that we're in this situation. And unfortunately, we as fans are part of the problem, because we do spend our money, we do vote with our wallets, and we vote with our time. And, the NFL is only thriving in this climate, which is, a damn shame.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very well said.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that definitely wraps things for the NFL up pretty nicely.
Yeah. One last football thing real quick, just transitioning my 2 minutes on this topic.
Go for it.
God damn it. We lost Jim Harbaugh. Michigan football. We're fucked. Everything's fucked. Everything's bad. But, like the one time, the 1 year we get it right, we get to be good. Like Jim Harbaugh, we beat Ohio State. We get to the playoff. We look like we win a Big Ten championship. Oh, NIL deal's coming. Bye. I'm going to the Vikings. This man left me for Minneapolis. This guy said the NIL scholarship deal is going to fuck me so bad. I'd rather live in Minneapolis, Minnesota than Ann Arbor, Michigan. This man chose the one part of the country that's worse to live in.
Oh my God. That's awesome. I love it.
But I mean, it is a great job in the sense that he has Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. He has a lot of talent that he's going to be able to go and listen.
Not to mention that, what's their quarterback's name? I always forget.
Kirk Cousins,
who had a very, very good season.
Yeah. He, Michigan native, by the way, Holland.
He sure is.
MSU Spartan, Holland native.
Go Spartans, I guess.
I guess. I mean, listen, especially
as a Notre fan, I like all of the Michigan colleges except Michigan.
Oh, you fucking hate them. Yeah, I know. And like, I'm not as high on Michigan as I used to love Michigan. I still love Michigan.
Oh, you do, you fucking clown.
I know. But like
you wear your maize and blue proudly like the dumb fuck you are.
I know. But now there's going to be no incentive to watch. I mean,
Oh, you're going to do it. And you're going to get pissed.
Oh, I know.
You're going to pretend that you're not a fan and you're going to say crazy shit on Twitter, but
I'm not going to be I'm not going to be pissed, but it's going to be like,
oh, you will be.
I'm just going to be like, now that Harbaugh's gone, my expectations are none. Like, I have negative expectations, if anything.
Oh no, I know you, Sean. I can't wait.
Oh, I'm not going to, now the only way they turn me around is if for some reason whoever they hire is on that caliber, which
sure,
there's no name on the market that's available. Now I will say
you could take John Gruden.
I was gonna say Urban Meyer's available.
Oh, he's available too. Why not? Fuck it,
dude. Bring him against Ohio State. Start demolishing your own program.
Dude, speaking of which, man, it sucks ass as a Notre Dame fan. Our very first game at Ohio State next season, like Jesus fucking Christ. That is a tough week one.
Well, especially now with, I think we're going to see the problems of college football only get worse, because I think now that NIL deals are a thing, I think you're just going to see all of the good play. Like, we've already been seeing a lot of all the good players go to like Alabama or like all these big programs that can afford to bring them in. Now we're only going to see those players go to Alabama or Texas A&M or USC, or it's because now it's going to be whoever's going to pay these players, whoever's going to help them get financial deals. So a lot of these schools, like, like for example, like a school like Notre Dame, who is, who's not really in the business or looking to be in the business of doing NIL deals.
We have all of the money, but we have way too high of academic standards.
Yeah. Michigan, we, a big reason why Jim Harbaugh is so interested in the NFL right now is because of the NIL deal, because of the fact that University of Michigan at this time is not giving a lot of NIL deals, and they're not playing that game yet. Now they're going to at some point. It's, they'll open the pocketbook eventually if they have to, but
sooner than later.
Yeah. But, we're going to win 4 games this year.
That'd be sick. That would be fucking sick.
If that.
I hope that's true.
It's probably true, because now you have one of the most prestigious programs in the country on its back foot, and they're going to have to go replace them. And there's not a lot of great candidates out there. Now you could go internal. You could. I don't think they will. If anything, I hope they don't just restrain themselves to a Michigan man. Like, I hope, like, because like before it's always been like, we got to hire a Michigan guy, like Brady Hoke. You know what I mean? Like, no, we're good. Like, hire the best coach. You know what I mean? But there's not going to be a lot of great.
Who's available?
Who?
Matt Patricia.
Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo's available. He could still go play in Tampa. He could go be the next Tampa Bay.
That's right. That's right. No, yeah.
If you're gonna do that to me, oh bitch, I got Reeves on Reeves to come back to you with.
Absolutely. No, to transition out, I do have to mention a little bit of hockey news that I would be very disappointed if I didn't bring up. About the only thing that matters right now, basically, that I've seen is that one of my favorite players ever and one of the greatest to ever do it, Heinrich Lundqvist, had his number retired by the New York Rangers this past week, and it was really, really cool. So congratulations to one of the greatest goalies of all time, who unfortunately did not win a Stanley Cup because he played for the New York Rangers. And but his number is in the rafters, as it fucking should be.
Dude, hold on. I just saw this too. This was news that also dropped during the podcast. This is more fun news.
Here we go. Breaking news. I love
Sadiq Bey, Cade Cunningham, and Isaiah Stewart were all selected to play in the 2022 NBA Rising Stars, marking the first time in Pistons history that the team has had 3 Rising Stars in the same season. We have 3 players that are going to be in the Rising Stars Challenge.
Let's fucking go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's fucking
Which
go.
Do you know how they're doing the Rising Stars game this year?
Absolutely not.
Dude, okay. So the new format is actually pretty sick. So first of all, I don't love the new sponsor. Because the sponsor, it's the 2022 Clorox Rising Stars. Okay. Oh my God. I love it. Okay.
The Clorox Rising Stars.
Now,
that's horrendous. Is that like for all of the All-Stars or just for the Rising Stars?
That's just for the Rising Stars. It's like
that's brutal.
Each event has their own sponsor. So like the Slam Dunk Contest. The Slam Dunk Contest is like the Sprite Slam Dunk Contest.
That's a lot better than Clorox.
Yeah. So here's the format. In a new format, 28 players comprised of 12 rookies, 12 sophomores, and 4 members of the NBA G League Ignite developmental squad. So 4 players from the G League Ignite. So future NBA players will be drafted. Can we add
Luka Garza?
No. No, he's of course not. Fuck no. Anyway, the 28 players will be drafted onto 4 teams coached by 75th anniversary team members Rick Barry, Gary Payton, Isaiah Thomas, Pistons Isaiah Thomas, and James Worthy to compete in 3 games. So they're gonna compete in 3 games on Friday night. Game 1 and 2 will be played until a team reaches 50 points, and then game 3 will be played until a team reaches 25.
That's kind of cool.
Isn't that cool? Pretty
cool.
Like it's just like a freestyle drafting style format.
Yeah.
You get to.
I think Luka Garza should be on it. Fuck you, but hey, you know.
You would be wrong in thinking that.
Fuck you. Luka Garza's number and name should be in the fucking rafters. How dare you?
By the way, Jalen Green is also going to be in the slam dunk contest. So that might be his first actual win this year. So,
yikes.
But
can we put Zach LaVine in that? Because he's the GOAT. So, I mean, you know.
Well, he's not a rising star. He's an all-star.
Oh, wait, they have a different dunk contest?
Oh, my bad. That's I was zoned out. Yeah, no,
Okay.
Yeah, dude, the dunk contest. So like, it sucks, man, because by the time players become good, they no longer want to play in the freaking slam dunk contest. Because like this year, it's literally
who wants to get hurt or whatever, you know.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. There's no incentive to do it. No one cares anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, It is what it is.
To be honest, it's fair though, because like as a Yankees fan, right? Like Aaron Judge has had some health issues and stuff like that here and there that are of course not his fault, and I don't think they're endemic of him being injury prone or anything.
Right.
And so like but even still, with his given history, the fact that he elected to not be in the home run derby, you know, even if he was selected or this and that, whatever, he made it known, I will not participate, and therefore they don't select him. As a Yankee fan, I'm kind of cool with it. I'm just like, listen, I'll watch other teams' franchise players, you know, go out and hit all these stupid home runs, blah, 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 whatever. You know, I love Shohei Ohtani so fucking much, and it was cool to see him or whatever and all this kind of stuff. But like, as a Yankee fan, no, I don't want to see Aaron Judge out there like fucking up his swing, doing all this dumb home run bullshit. Fuck out of here.
Now, I will say I'm fucking psyched to see Cade Cunningham in the Rising Stars Challenge, because I think he can go out there and do some cool shit and you know, put on a show. But
I would like to retract every statement we made from the beginning of this show about 9 episodes ago or whatever it was. Anything negative I've ever said about Cade Cunningham, because I tell you what, Kadarius Cadathan Cunningham is the next Michael Jordan.
Dude, guy's playing great. Absolute balling out. Yeah. Dude,
I love him.
We tackled a lot this episode, dude. We got into it.
We did. I think, yeah, I mean, obviously, Tom Brady, greatest of all time. The NFL, racist as fuck.
Racist of all time.
Racist of all time. Heinrich Lundqvist.
No, wait, not racist of all time. Racist at all times.
Correct. The Heinrich Lundqvist, one of the greatest of all times. Cade Cunningham, soon to be the greatest of all time.
And Jim Harbaugh, the Viking of all time.
The Viking of all time. And NASCAR, you know, it's the whitest of all time.
The greatest of all trash.
I love it.
Not of all time, of all trash.
Of all trash. Yeah, no, you know, it's exciting for me. The Rolex 24 was this past weekend. I was happy to watch that. I was really happy to see my boy Colton Herta, who is a full-time IndyCar driver. He won the LMP2. I believe that's what it's called, something like that. Category. He won the race for that and earned a Rolex. So that was really, really cool. Elio Castroneves also won himself another fucking Rolex watch. I'm pretty sure he's won a few by now. He also won the Indy 500 last year, so he's been on quite a roll as of late, and he's not very young, so really, really cool for him. And yeah, I mean, the Rolex 24 had a really, really, you know, good race as usual and stuff like that. Pretty cold weather, being 34 degrees in Daytona, but no, it was a good event. It was fun to watch, all that kind of good stuff. And I always super look forward to it. And I look forward to, you know, the NASCAR season, all that kind of good stuff. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm sorry.
Let's hear it.
So I'm just watching. So they showed footage of so the way that they found out about the banner in the football stadium for Washington.
Oh, no.
So there's literally just footage of a helicopter reporter just dead ass zooming in to the door into the front doors of the stadium from his helicopter, and you could zoom all the way in, and it just says Commanders. It like shows them in the uniforms and shit. Like, this is like the worst kept secret of all time. I'm sending it to you right now. I'm laughing so hard.
Let me see. Oh, here we go. Welcome the Washington Commanders.
And the zoom is
this
so
fucking
funny,
zoom.
Just all the way from up there. Like, guys, you couldn't wait a day. Like, you really, that had to go up now. You couldn't have done that tomorrow morning.
Oh my God, the top comment, still time to change it to the Washington Redskin Spanish peanuts. That's so stupid. Oh, dude, there's also there's t-shirts that have leaked that show the DC Commanders and a bunch of other cool stuff. Yeah, the Commanders, that's just so not the move.
What a lame name.
So not the move. Like, the Admirals, I was starting to warm up to and thought it was actually kind of a good name. I actually thought the Washington Admirals was a really cool name.
It makes me like the Cleveland Guardians.
No, I actually, you know what's funny? I didn't like it at first, but it has grown on me significantly, and I actually really, really think the Guardians is a cool name. I actually really dig the
Yeah.
Cleveland Guardians.
I mean,
think
it's
that's
also
sick.
just hard to hear a name the first time because you're not used to it. So
For
anytime it
sure.
changes, it just hits weird. But Commanders,
Commanders is fucking whack.
It's weak. It's weak.
The fucking Washington going Commandos. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. That is some shit ass name. Like, that is some fucking garbage, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, so
Unreal.
I don't know. I'm not feeling it on that one. It
Yeah.
is what it is. They probably will get sold anyways and probably have to change their name and location anyways. Like, they're probably the thing is with everything about to come out, the team will probably get fucking sold and they'll be like the fucking Mexico City fucking, I don't even know, cactus or some shit. Like, they'll be like some stupid bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mexico City cacti.
Or the fucking London Monarchs or some stupid shit. Like, there'll be some bullshit ass fucking team because, like, you know, for a fact, like, this team's getting sold, baby.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
It's such a disappointment too, because, like, you know, one of my favorite people in sports is Joe Gibbs, who was the legendary coach of the Washington Redskins, led them to, I think, 2 Super Bowl wins. And he is the owner of my favorite NASCAR team, Joe Gibbs Racing, which of course had my 2 favorite drivers growing up, which were Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte. And now my favorite driver, Kyle Busch, driver of the 18, their original car, their original number, all that kind of stuff, interstate batteries. And, you know, so like I have a lot of respect for Coach and I love Coach. And, you know, it's just so unfortunate that like Joe Gibbs' legacy is, you know, tied of all the teams he could be a legendary coach of, it had to be the fucking Redskins. And, you know, it's really unfortunate because I'm like, man, I like the guy. I respect him a lot. You know, I love what his team does in NASCAR and stuff like that. But unfortunately, you know, of all the teams, but it's not his fault. You know, he didn't fucking name the team. It is what it is.
Yeah,
but
100%.
But yeah, I think that is pretty much all I have sporting wise. Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered the bases.
I think we went around the bases and I think we're heading home.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think the last thing for you that I will leave off with is a little bit of video game stuff, because I do want to start introducing a little bit of video game stuff.
Okay.
I will lead off with the fact that the other day I had a very good day. It was Sunday, and I sat there for a solid like 4 hours at least, something like that. And the only thing I did was sat on my couch and fucking ate club crackers, Kellogg's club crackers, drinking water and playing Fortnite. And I gained like 25 levels on my battle pass so that I could unlock fucking Spider-Man, and I got his ass.
Dude, I'm so close. I need to do it soon. I gotta sit down and get that done.
And I was gonna play some tonight before the pod, but their servers are down or some shit for maintenance. And I was like, man, this is some fucking bullshit.
Shit's whack.
Yeah, it's fucking whack. I can't wait for the new Horizon game though. That's gonna be cool.
Oh, dude, hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
The thing is though, is like I'm hoping it runs well on PS4 Pro, because obviously that's what I have. If it doesn't run well on there, then I'm gonna need a PS5, and I just don't got the fucking money for that. So fuck it.
Might not find one for another year and a half.
Literally, dude. The funny thing is I was like, oh, I'll wait and get one when the console you know, has like special editions and all that kind of stuff. I was hoping maybe I could get like a cool Spider-Man one or whatever. Dude, you can't even get the fucking base one. Fuck a special edition. Like, are you out of your mind?
It is so unreal, dude. It's
just fucking pissing me off, to be honest with you.
Pisses me off.
Pisses me off. Yeah, we need to wrap up the podcast. We love you guys. We will see you next week. And you know, as always, go Bucks. And we love you. Ow!
I am your commander.
This fucking guy.